Ha shalom lakam. How are you? I'm constantly thinking about community and gathering together. It's been on my mind for years, and it just hasn't happened. Okay, I tried to connect with people, and many people want to gather together. But what I'm seeing in the scriptures, and please comment below if you see it, it doesn't feel like we or you or I are in the truth if we're not gathered together. Because one of the commandments for our times especially, even back then, was for us to gather together. How are you in the truth if your neighbors are not in the truth? How are you in the truth if we're not collectively working to build a community for our children and surround them with people who are righteous? If your thoughts are not about building and gathering together with your people because you think you're too good and you're, super set apart or you're super righteous, you're not really in the truth. And please correct me if I'm wrong. What are your thoughts? I see that there's a lot of work to be done, and without certain things in place, this work cannot be done. As you guys know, I, for a time, was sewing clothes, but I decided to stop, not because we don't need clothes, but because Yahuah has given me revelation concerning the ancient biblical language, which many people know as Paleo-Hebrew, but it's actually Manakati. I found out the origins of the symbols. So although we do need clothes, and even I need clothes, my family needs clothes, my focus is truly on the language, because the language helps us to hear and to know the truth about Yahuah's words. We need to know Yahuah's words. And what I'm seeing whenever I read the scriptures is we're supposed to be gathered together. We're supposed to have certain things in place. And one of the last books of the scriptures is Malachi. And notice I did not include the New Testament because those aren't scriptures. It's scriptures technically, but it's not the word of Yah. Yahuah's name's not in it. That's not the topic for this video. So the last book of the actual inspired books that have Yahuah's name in it is Malachi. And Malachi, one of the last words was that we're not paying tithes. And I want you guys, I know there's a lot of debates and people saying tithes is food. Tithes is not just food. Tithes, for sometimes it's been money. If you really read about it, it's not just 10%. There's food tithes, 10%, and then there's certain obligations that Yahuah required. For example, I don't want to quote it right this second because I don't have those scriptures in front of me, but I know that an adult male would pay a certain shekel of silver certain times during the year, and then female, I believe they would pay a smaller amount, and an older person, I think, paid a small amount. And so there were different offerings. There was free will offering. Certain times when Yahuah had something that he was building, he would say, okay, people, we're about to build this. Bring in your offering. And this was an opportunity for you to show Yah, look, I'm a team player. I'm going to do this. Yah said for us to gather together. There's so many scriptures. There's so many people that need to be in place. For example, the tithes, it's not just for the priests. I've made videos about tithes, and I'll put the link right here somewhere about a video about how the tithes were for multiple things, and I need to talk about tithes. There's so many topics that I've only touched on once or twice, and I need to touch on it a lot. You need someone to, number one, you need someone to do the work for the language. And yes, I'm doing the work, and people are asking me to teach them the language, but my efforts is heavily on making money because I need to feed the language some money so I can be able to do the work. I don't have time to look at the scriptures as much as I want to, and so you guys don't know how much you need somebody to dissect the scriptures and to bring out the truth of what it's saying. You need me for that, but I have to work so much. I really need you guys to support me. Visit patreon.com/Batia. Right now, I'll put the link in the description. Right now, I'm getting great support for me to be able to keep my websites up and the app. And I do need to bring back my Apple app. I'm back up, I'm sorry. It's been kind of hard for me with lack of time to focus on it. And I'm working on it, and my free time is really the language and putting together a workbook for the language. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. But there are lots of things that need to be in place. This video, I wanted to talk about judges. we need to have judges, okay? And the judges need to know the language. So I'm really wary about people who are put in place who don't know what the scriptures are truly saying if they're not properly translated. Yes, there are translations, and the translations are decent, but sometimes they mess up. And, you know, for the most part, they're decent, okay? But sometimes they mess up. And so while, yes, we should judge, we need to use wisdom. People who are, for example, messianic, they'll tell you you can't divorce, but the scripture does allow for divorce. Deuteronomy 24 is law. You can't take away Deuteronomy 24 just because you're New Testament. That is law. There are times when you need to divorce a man or a woman. For example, you marry somebody and then they turn to be a drunk. A woman cannot, like a drunkard who beats her and her children, she needs to get away from that. Like, there are scriptures in place to protect us. And without the judges, these Israelites who serve Yah or people who fear Yah, they're going to have to go to the government for help, and the government is not there. We're supposed to have our own people in place to intervene and to be the therapist, for example, to be the voice of reason in the scriptures, and people are supposed to listen to them. Where are those people? Okay, that needs to be put in place. But gathering together requires money, because we need land. We need a building for us to have a meeting place when we need to privately talk amongst each other. We need schools. Oh, there's so much that we need. We need infrastructures for business. We're not supposed to be in this matrix. Quite frankly, we shouldn't even have a social security number. I don't want this to be a video about Israelite sovereignty. Remember, I was all about that years ago, and I'm still all about it. I'm just kind of doing multiple things. There's so much work to be done. My mind, even though I've been quiet for months, it may seem like, oh, you're not sure where I am. My mind is heavily on us gathering together. It's on the truth. It is on clothes. But the language, because Yahuah, it really seems like people, they don't have the truth about the language. And it looks like the ball is on me on this one, because I have the knowledge of the origin of the symbols, and I need to bring that out to you guys. So it's like a sense of responsibility. I got to do that work. And yes, we need clothes. We need judges. We need so many things in place. But number one, we need to have our mind on gathering together. We need to do things. And where are the people who actually want to gather together? And if you want to gather together, that has to be backed by money. We need to put our efforts. Yes, I'm looking for land, but I ain't got that kind of money. I got a house I could sell, take some of my equity, and as I work, you know, I could help. But I see we need more than one person, and there are people who actually own land right now, lots of acres, and while yes, they have land, maybe they're not the one that you should be gathered together with, because maybe their wisdom is not there. Maybe they've been in truth for only a couple of years. While gathering together is great, and yeah, that could work out, just make sure the people you gather together with have some sense, and that you're not entering a cult. Be careful of that. This is part of the reasons why you know, we have to protect ourselves with people who are wise, not people who just have money. Just because you have money don't mean that, yeah, we should come gather with you. Money is not the only sign or the only means or the only reason why you should gather together. Or land, someone who has land. Make sure the person has wisdom. Okay, and yes, I do want to gather together, but you know, I don't have the wisdom to build. That's not my wisdom. I don't build houses. I'm a realtor. I can sell you a house. I know the signs of a quality house, but you know, we are collective. We need to come together collectively with our minds and think of what we can do for each other, for the truth. Yah said to gather together. I don't believe you're in the truth or I'm in the truth if we're not working towards coming together as a people, because our children need you to give them other people who are actually in this way of life. Otherwise, they're going to be lost. They're going to fall on the wayside. Who are they going to marry? They're going to marry the wicked. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. I'm going to try to do more videos on community and seeing what we can do. I'm proactively looking for land, seeing what door Yahuah is going to open. I'm a realtor in Kentucky and Massachusetts, but I'm specifically looking in Kentucky. Kentucky is one of the most affordable states to live in. Look it up. I'm not trying to build a community where we can go work nearby and make money nearby. And the whole point of a community, if we can do it right, is to have a great amount of land, and for people who are pioneers can help us to help each other to live off the land. Someone, cattle. They raise cattle. Someone raise cows or goats, and someone have fruit trees. Someone have, deal with wood. Someone deals with stone, and we come together collectively and do something and protect ourselves. People who are lawyers would be great to be on this land. People who are doctors, people who are nurses. Collectively, we are a powerhouse. There are lots of wise Israelites, and if we are not there collectively trying to build a community, where are we? We're helping Babylon, spiritual Babylon, build this community. I know people, there's a debate going on. Oh, this is not Babylon. Spiritual Babylon. Shalom. Give me your thoughts.